Welcome everyone to another episode of Time for BL. This is a podcast where we review TV shows, movies, books, and comics, all in the boys love drama genre. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. This episode is going to be a little bit different. The reason is I'm actually going to be reviewing a movie called Cuatro Lunas. Cuatro Lunas is a Mexican movie. It was directed and written by Sergio Tovar Velarde. I'm sorry, my Spanish sucks. And what it does is actually breaks up 4 storylines into different phases of the moon. Now, I will say this movie is definitely for mature audiences only. But for this, so what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to break up each storyline into its own episodes. The rest of the storylines will be under explicit. So I don't know how that will show up on Spotify, but I know that mainly means it should mean only persons 18 and over might be able to listen to it. And it's mainly because I'm going to be a little bit more graphic in those storylines. But this storyline, I want to talk about New Moon, which is the story of Mauricio. So, like I said, this movie is for adults. It is definitely has mature content. There's a lot of full frontal exposure. But the story of Mauricio follows an 11-year-old boy who is kind of coming to a point where he is questioning his sexuality, which is why I want to do this one separate from the rest of them so that more people can actually hear about New Moon and Mauricio's story, because I actually do think this one is very it can be relatable to especially a lot of young people. I think that's why Sergio did it the way he did too. So, New Moon. How the movie goes is broken up into different parts. We actually have all the stories. They don't really cross over into each other, but everyone lives in Mexico City, it looks like. Everyone is mostly pretty much middle class, some being upper middle class. And in New Moon, Mauricio lives with his father, Hector. I can't remember his mom's name, and I did not write it down. I should have, because she's amazing. And in the beginning, we see him spending time with his cousin, Oliver. It's made very apparent that Mauricio has a little crush on his cousin, and we see him do things like he is drinking or putting his lips against a cup that his cousin was drinking out of, like very stalkerish things. But it's also things that a little kid, he's 11 years old, he himself doesn't fully understand even what he is doing. That's made apparent. Because his family is Catholic, he goes to a priest to do confessions, and he lets the priest know he feels like he's hurting God, he's doing something bad. The priest lets him know, just confess your sins. I promise it's not that bad. And Mauricio asks him if it's wrong to be a homosexual, and this priest tells this 11-year-old boy, you are not a homosexual. I hate the priest, but I get it. He's just seeing like in a lot of, even in, it doesn't really matter where, a lot of people see homosexuality as just sex, and that's it. They only see that part of the conversation. They're not looking at the fact that someone can, depending on, we can make you talk about nurture nature all day long, but it's who they become attracted to, or who they start to realize they have an attraction to as they get older. For some of us, it's having an attraction to the opposite sex. Some of us is having an attraction to the same sex. Some of us, it's having an attraction to anybody. It's, hey, I'm attracted to whoever I'm attracted to, and that's just the end of the story at the end of the day. So this 11-year-old boy is told by the priest he is not gay. So in other words, he still has no one to talk to about what these feelings are that are coming up in him, especially these feelings about his cousin. We see him do things like asking his parents for a specific game because that's the game that his cousin likes, and it's obvious he's really trying to impress him. And then it leads up to a conversation between him and his cousin about circumcisions. Basically, being circumcised, being not circumcised. This scene was very uncomfortable to watch. But in the scene, basically, Mauricio gets his cousin to agree to show you mine and I'll show you yours. Let me show you mine and you show me yours. I've never done that. And so after that situation, the cousin goes to school and lets everyone knows Mauricio is gay, not in the nice way I'm saying it. He calls him, of course, a slur and tells everyone that he is this slur. Now, even before that, during the whole circumcision conversation, he kept telling Mauricio, don't be a slur. And this leads to Mauricio getting bullied by his cousin and the other kids, getting beat up, and the parents of all the kids, of course, having to come to school and have a conversation with the principal or whoever that teacher was about the situation, and Mauricio basically being outed. What I thought was really nice is the two mothers, Oliver's mother and Mauricio's mother, going, we should end this now, let's go, we'll deal with this. Because they both recognize that these are kids, this is a sensitive topic, we need to find another way to discuss this. But Hector, which is the reason why I remember his name clearly and I wrote his name down clearly, Hector, of course, Mauricio's dad, is very angered by the situation. Now, why he's angered? From the beginning, we see Mauricio's mother is very tender with her child. Basically, he helps her in the kitchen. Like when Hector says no to things, she's trying her best. She finds ways to help Mauricio out to turn that no into a yes and stuff. She's very doting on her son, and Hector makes it very clear to her it's her fault. It's your fault our son is like this. And that was even heartbreaking to see, because she's like already really worried because her child not only just went through this situation, now he's not feeling well because most likely from the way that his symptoms was described, it wasn't that he was sick, but the whole situation with how embarrassing it is, and the fact that he feels like his dad doesn't love him, and he's disappointed his parents, and he's disappointed everyone. And plus he got beat up by his cousin and those friends. He basically got beat up by the person he had a crush on, and that whole situation got to him. So it's obvious that it really is a oh gosh, what does it call it? Like pseudo symptoms, whatever it is, but it's psych symptom. It's definitely a stress. It's a stress induced symptom that he's going through. And the mom is really worried about him, and Hector is going, this is why he's like this, because you just keep spoiling him. So she's being, berated by her husband, and she's going through this situation where she just wants to protect her child. And it's so, the story of Mauricio to me is just, it has so many details in it, as far as not only on Mauricio's side of what he's going through, but on the family side, because he's so young, they don't know how to handle this. One of my favorite lines is when the mom says to Mauricio, your dad is angry, but he's not angry at you. He doesn't know who he's angry at. He doesn't know what he's angry at. So for anyone worried about Mauricio, I will go ahead and spoil the ending. So just keep in mind, this is going to be straight spoilers. Basically the whole thing is spoilers, because I wanted to make sure you got as much information, especially if you're not going to be able to listen to the review of the other stories. But in the end, Mauricio's dad, Hector, he buys a punching bag, or he gets a punching bag, installs it, calls Mauricio and tells him, I never want this to happen to you again, but I don't want you to ever start a fight. And right there tells him, punch the bag. That's the face of the person who beat you up. Punch them. And he, at this point, he's trying, like, he in his own way is trying to find a way to bond with his son, and trying to find a way, like, as a parent, this is still your child, and he wants to find a way to protect his child. And it's obvious that Mauricio is an only child, so he definitely gets spoiled. And he, in a sense, gets spoiled by Hector as well. But what's great is now Hector has learned to relax a bit. There's a beautiful scene in the end where he makes breakfast for his parents. And the way Hector looks at Mauricio, you can see, like, the situation is still something weighing on his mind. He may not even want to talk about it yet, but there's still this love for his son. And I'm crying. I'm not gonna lie. I'm crying right now as I think about it, because New Moon was one of my favorite storylines in Cuatro Lunas. So 4 Moons is the English name. It is available on Amazon if you have a subscription. If you don't have a subscription, it is $3.99, I believe, to rent, $9.99 to purchase. It is available for free as well on Tubi, Tubi. I'll try and see if I can post a link to Tubi. Now, to see it for free, it is going to have a lot of ads in it. I actually have Tubi for shows that are not available on any of my other available on any of my subscription services. And there are a lot of ads in between. So just keep that in mind. If you want to watch it without ads, then Amazon is another option there. And I believe it's on Apple for $3.99 as well to rent, $4.99 to purchase. Yeah, that's basically New Moon. Like I said, the storyline, I think, is important because there are situations, especially with families, where they might have a child who, for them, in the case of Mauricio, he kind of has an idea of what it is with him, because he knows what he's feeling. And when he's trying to reach out to an adult to help him understand, and instead that adult just goes, "Oh, you're not gay," and like that's the end of it. And the storyline really makes you feel for Mauricio and his confusion, and makes you think, wow, if he actually had proper guidance, if he had someone to talk to and to help him, maybe that situation wouldn't have even gone as far as it did, to get to the level that it did. As far as Hector's reaction to it, I know a lot of us might be like, how dare he? That's his child. But everyone processes things differently. In his head, he might feel like he's lost his son. Who knows? Something stupid. But everyone processes things differently. Even though I can't feel Hector's pain, honestly, I can't. For me, watching that, I felt more like the mother. Like, she's caught in the space where her husband is telling her, this is your fault, and her son is going through something, and she just wants to help her son. And I can't even imagine what that's like for her to be told that, because we don't, it's obvious from the beginning, the way she treats Mauricio, that she just loves her son, and that's why, she dotes on him the way she does. It's even possible that she might have already suspected, but just didn't say anything. Who knows? She's just this loving mom. And to see her go through that was, I really feel like that was really emotional. So I'm rating 4 moons based on each different story. Overall, this movie, there are storylines I don't like in it. I'll be talking about them in my explicit versions. But still, overall, it's a straight up 9.5 for the whole movie for me. And that's the highest score anyone will ever get from me. 9.5 out of 10. But the story for New Moon, straight up 9.5. I love the storyline. I love the topic of the storyline of a child just needing, to me, how I took it is, this is a kid who needed someone to talk to, and if he had someone to talk to, maybe it wouldn't have gone as far as it did if he wasn't dismissed the way he was, if he had felt safer talking to his parents. Maybe even he could have felt safer talking to his mom, but the fact that his dad was always so critical, he needs to make sure he keeps his dad happy. It's obvious that he doesn't, there's a situation where he's talking to his parents about something he wants, a game he wants, and his dad's like, no, we're not getting that. You already just got this, and no, you're asking for something else. And then he just turns to his aunt, but mom, and that angers his dad, and rightfully so, because that's like pitting parents against each other. But you can see he is worried about how his dad views him, or what his dad will say. He does have a slight fear of his dad, because his mom is the one who kind of gives him everything he wants. But New Moon, definitely amazing storyline. I think it was perfect. If you can find the New Moon storyline by itself, because I don't want to tell people who might be too young for Four Moons to watch Four Moons, but New Moon storyline by itself, I think, would be appropriate for a 16 and older audience. The tears are finally drying up. But yeah, for a 16 and older audience, I would say New Moon storyline would be okay for. I wouldn't go under 16 unless an adult watched it first and then said, okay, I'm okay with my kid watching this, or my kid is older, is mature enough to handle the circumcision scene. Because that circumcision scene, like I said, it just made me really uncomfortable. I blocked it out of my mind, but then I rewatched it for the review, and I was like, oh yeah, the scene. But yeah. Leaving on a good note, Hector, in the end, like, to me, that was the biggest redemption arc. Hector was the biggest redemption arc in the whole movie, out of everyone in the movie. And there's the Waxing Moon is the storyline I love the most out of Four Moons, but Hector, to me, his redemption arc is the best out of it, because what we see in that is, at the end of the day, this dad loves his son. Even though he might not be 100% on board with the idea that his son might be gay, he still, at the end of the day, does love his son. And to see the ending, the way he looks at Mauricio when Mauricio is cooking for his parents and helping and preparing their meal, mom is just looking at him with this huge smile on her face. She's just so proud of him. And Hector, you can tell he doesn't know 100% how to feel, how to react, but he's just letting Mauricio be, and that is amazing. I'm crying again. So yeah, that was this review on the Four Moon storyline, New Moon. Please don't forget to comment and let me know what you think. You can listen, of course, to this podcast on Spotify and on anchor.fm/time4VL. You can also follow me on Instagram at time4VL. Oh god, I'm still crying. I can't believe I started crying again. I really, the New Moon storyline really got to me. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And this is JD Young. Let me know what you'd like me to review. I'd love to hear some new titles that maybe I haven't seen before. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. And I hope next time you can make some time for BL. Love you. Have a good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Bye.